Four Zambian trucks belonging to different companies in Zambia have been hijacked in Johannesburg, South Africa, by unknown people. Acting Chief Justice Michael Msonda has formally responded to an application to set up a tribunal to investigate the degazation of Lusaka Forest number 27. Welcome to the news. Four Zambian trucks belonging to two different companies in Zambia have been hijacked in Johannesburg, South Africa by unknown people. The trucks that were coming from Zambia to South Africa carried different vehicle engines for reconditioning in Werrivale and Kempton Park garages in South Africa. According to the information made available to the Zambian mission in Pretoria, 3 trucks were hijacked in Werrivale, Gemstone, whilst the other truck was hijacked in Joslov, Gauteng province in the early hours of Sunday, 15th September. The trucks were being driven by Zambian nationals identified as Katongo Mlenga, Boniface Chavala, Jimmy Kasenga, and Charles Kakoma. It was reported that the drivers were tied with cable wires and bundled in a car before being dumped at the roadside near the area where the attack happened. The matter has been reported to Cleveland and John Foster Police Post for investigations. No injuries were reported as a result of the hijacking, and the affected Zambians are safe. The High Commission is monitoring the matter closely and has engaged relevant local authorities to ensure the safety of Zambians in South Africa, as well as ensure that the trucks were recovered. This is according to a statement made available to Q News by First Secretary, Press and Public Relations in the Zambian Mission in South Africa, Naomi Nyawali. Acting Chief Justice Michael Msonda has formally responded to an application to set up a tribunal to investigate the degazation of the Lusaka East Forest Reserve number 27. Petitioner William Harrington has confirmed he collected the response by Justice Msonda, who has been assigned to deal with the application in a letter addressed to him on Wednesday last week. Mr. Harrington, who wants Minister of Lands Jean Kapata to be investigated over the allocation of plots in the said Forest Reserve, however, says the letter is labelled confidential. In an interview with Q News, Mr. Harrington has explained that this means he cannot discuss in public the contents of the letter. Mr. Harrington, who is a former Environment Minister, states that he is together with his fellow petitioner, senior citizen Robert Chimambo, in the process of preparing the response.
Suffice to say, he has said that he has been assigned the responsibility to handle our request in accordance with Article 137(1)(c) of the Constitution of Zambia Act number 2 of 2016. He also reveals that Her Honor the Chief Justice had applied for a small holding and was subsequently allocated one in the Lusaka East Forest Reserve number 27, which he says is the subject of our complaint against the Honorable Minister. So we are disputing that it is not about the Chief Justice, but it's about the Minister and any others, because there are many others who may have benefited from the degazetting and the allocation of plots in the Lusaka East Forest Reserve number 27. However, we intend to have another press briefing on Wednesday.
The ruling Patriotic Front, PF, has maintained that those opposing the current constitution refinement process are allegedly being funded by organizations that want to introduce gay rights in Zambia. Government Parliamentary Chief Whip Tutu Ngulube says this is why some organizations are protesting against the Constitution Amendment Bill number 10 cannot reveal their source of funding. Mr. Ngulube states that it can, however, be connected on how some alleged monies are exchanging hands from gay institutions to sponsor other gay institutions. Speaking during the weekly PF Interactive Forum in Lusaka, Mr. Ngulube argued that the standoff on the Constitution Amendment Bill therefore goes beyond what the eye can see.
We all know that the various forms, constitution-making processes collapsed because at the end of the process, people now started fighting with the procedure as opposed to dealing with the content. And as a result, a lot of our people still remain, in very dire need because the constitution that we have right now does not speak their aspirations. And also we are aware that the Constitution is a document that backs up the will of the people, because the power that the president uses comes from the people through the Constitution. Right now we have a process that is underway, and I think we need to refine our Constitution in a way that we can allow the electoral processes and also all these difficult situations that we encountered in the year 2016 to come to rest. I want to remind again the opposition who have been opposed to this process that not long ago, 2016, August, just after the declaration of the election result, somebody went to the mountain to cry that we needed to refine this constitution. They also went to the mountain to cry that we needed a dialogue, you know. And now that the National Dialogue Forum came up, again they rejected it.
Speaking at the same forum, Government Parliamentary Chief Whip Brian Muntubile described as shocking UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema's trivialization of effects of climate change on Zambia. Mr. Muntubile has advised Mr. Hichilema to realize that climate change is in fact real. He has, however, assured the people that government will continue delivering to them, notwithstanding the effects of climate change.
And government also is playing a role in the smart agriculture and supporting agriculture beyond rain-fed farming. We've seen efforts by this government to promote irrigation. In fact, when you look at the PF manifesto, you will see that those are some of the priorities that we put up between 2016 and 2021 to promote irrigation. So in most of the areas, we are now beginning to look at how to store water, because quite frankly, these efforts have to be upped now, because we know now that climate change is real, and government is looking at efforts looking beyond the rain-fed agriculture. We have seen government efforts in aquaculture, because we know and we are aware of the adverse impact on fresh water ecosystems. And this is the reason why government, through the Ministry of Fisheries, has provided a fund. We've been training youths right across the country in aquaculture.
The National Democratic Congress NDC President Chimba Kambwili has accused the government of allegedly paying cabinet ministers monthly salaries as high as 80,000 kwacha. Mr. Kambwili claims he is also aware that President Edgar Lungu now earns a salary of more than 100,000 kwacha per month. In an interview with QTV News, Mr. Kambwili has expressed a displeasure that government is being selfish by paying themselves such huge salaries. Mr. Kambwili suspects that President Edgar Lungu is not really there to govern the country, but to allegedly amass wealth with his family and cabinet. He argues that this is why the president seems not keen to do something about the high prices of meal in the country.
PF is an I don't care government. And you can see in this situation where the minimum prices have gone, the president is quiet. The ministers are quiet because the president earns above 100,000 a month. The ministers earn over 80,000 kwacha a month. Even if the price of minimum was 1,000, they will not feel it. I have told them, increase the salaries for everybody in Zambia, including civil servants, the police, the army, the guards, cleaners, and everybody. These PF ministers are enjoying. Me, when I was in government, I used to earn 18,000. Now you can imagine from 2016, when I left government to date, they have increased their salaries from 18,000 a month to 80,000 a month. That's selfishness of the worst kind. President Lungu is not here to govern the country, but to amass wealth for himself, his family, and the so-called cabinet. From time immemorial, from Kaunda days, ordinary MPs and ministers, the salary difference is about 1,000 plus or minus. But now, the MPs have remained at about 20-something thousand. The ministers have gone to 80,000. Selfishness of the worst kind. This government must be voted out of office. That's the way forward.
The Industrial Development Corporation, IDC Chief Executive Officer Mateo Kaluva says the process to find a suitable equity partner in Indeni oil refinery is still work in progress. Mr. Kaluva states that Indeni, being a national asset, the IDC is taking all precautions in considering which investor will be an equity partner. In an interview with QTV News, Mr. Kaluva has explained that the IDC is therefore still engaging prospective partners interested to invest in the state-owned company. Mr. Kaluva says the IDC expects to settle for an equity partner in Indeni by the end of 2019.
It is still work in progress. Like I had mentioned before, this is a strategic national asset and we are taking all the caution in moving forward. So we are still engaging partners and they're still doing their due diligence so that they can put in an appropriate bid for the future of India. We expect to make progress before the end of the year.
Mumba Town Council Chairman Gracious Hamatala has appealed to the Food Reserve Agency (FRA) to increase its quantum of maize for sale in the district. Mr. Hamatala is concerned that the current 600 bags by 50 kg bags are not enough for those affected by hunger in the district. Speaking during a media briefing, Mr. Hamatala disclosed that his district has been heavily hit by the adverse food shortage due to the poor rains experienced in the 2018-2019 farming season. Mr. Hamatala states that there is therefore urgent need to increase the distribution of relief food in the area.
We have received a consignment of maize meal or mealie meal from government, which came in last week. This has not yet been distributed because we are waiting for logistics to be provided to the selected distributor who was arrived at during one of our district government coordinating committees to help with the distribution of that relief maize. We also have maize for sale that takes place at our local food reserve agency offices. Unfortunately, this runs out very quickly because we are given in quantums of 600 bags, and of late you find that 600 bags finishes within a week or sometimes less than a week. So this is putting a lot of pressure on the families that need to buy food as this has become very, very rare. Just on Friday, we had the people from Nangoma constituents coming in large numbers that collected their money so that they come and they get their permits to deposit the money and therefore collect the maize. They found maize was not available, and with their huge volumes of money, they had to come in my office and they put the money on the table and say, all we want is food.
SADC member states' embassies in Brazil, South America have celebrated its existence with a family day at Zambia House in Brasilia. Scores of ambassadors, diplomats and African nationals gathered at the 38th SADC International Commemoration. And speaking when she addressed the Brazilian dignitaries and African leaders, Zambia's ambassador to Brazil, Dr. Alfreda Kansembe Mwamba, said Zambia remains open to tourists and investors wishing to invest in the country as it is bestowed with vast natural resources. Dr. Kansembe Mwamba said Zambia was a peaceful country which provided safety to brothers and sisters from the SADC region who sought refuge during the liberation struggle and continues to be an oasis of peace. More in the following report.
SADC member states' embassies in Brazil have celebrated its existence with a family day at Zambia House in Brasilia. Scores of ambassadors, diplomats, and their families gathered to commemorate the event with various dishes, drinks, and music from their home countries. Brazilian dignitaries and other African nations joined the celebration with many clad in African attires. Zambia's ambassador to Brazil, Dr. Alfreda Kansembe Mwamba, told the guests that Zambia remains an attractive tourism destination in the region.
Zambia is part of the SADC region. And most of the SADC region, most of the countries in the SADC region are endowed with a lot of natural resources, such as waterfalls like the Victoria Falls, which is found between Zambia and Zimbabwe. We've got beautiful game, which are very beautiful to behold. Therefore, Our doors are open as SADC and also as Zambia.
She said Zambia was a unique selling proposition as an oasis of peace that provided sanctuary to almost everyone in the region.
Olden days, Zambia's doors were always open to our brothers and sisters who needed refuge. And so today, we still say Zambia, SADC, is open, not only to ourselves, but to tourists all over the world and foreign investors who want to come invest in Zambia and SADC in particular.
Foreign Affairs Brazil's Africa Division representative, Mr. Arima Nunes, reiterated his government's support for Africa.
Common actions to promote economic welfare, collective self-reliance and integration in the spirit of equity and partnership. This firm foundation is necessary for the attainment of our cherished ideas of economic well-being, the improvement of the standard and quality of life, freedom and social justice, and peace and security for the peoples of Southern Africa.
At the event, Namibia ceded its chairmanship to Tanzania. Grace McCarney reporting from Brasilia, Brazil.
Former UPND Vice President Geoffrey Mwamba has been accused of falsifying a defection of a supposed UPND member Bernard Mwamba to the ruling PF on a Saturday in Kasama. The UPND Northern Province Chairman Nathan Ilunga says the truth of the matter is that Mr. Mwamba ceased to be the district secretary of the party after the Kasama constituency and district committees were dissolved by Party Secretary General Stephen Katuka. Mr. Simbea has disclosed that Bernard Mwamba was not one of the members of the committees that were reconstituted after the dissolution. He notes that Mr. Mwamba was in fact one of the followers of the former UPND vice president when he held a media briefing to rejoin the ruling party.
When I was given the mandate or authority to reconstitute the dissolved committees, I considered to include those that had refused to follow GBM, who had remained true and loyal to the party. There are also those that had traveled and attended the press conference on the pretext that the gathering was meant to reconcile GBM and HH. That is how some of them agreed to follow him after being deceived in that manner. But after they discovered that GBM actually wanted to defect together with them, they recoiled and came back to the party and expressed a remorse. I was compelled to include such in the reconstituted committees, and Bernard Mwamba was not one of them. When I was given the mandate,
New Congress Party President Peter Chanda has urged Zambians not to take National Democratic Congress NDC leader Chimba Kambwili seriously, as he is allegedly a liar. Mr. Chanda has also advised the first Republican President, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda's son, Kaweshe, to stop siding with Mr. Kambwili on issues that he is not sure about. And Mr. Chanda has observed that Zambia is now in an era where opposition political parties have run out of ideas on how to offer checks and balances to the government. He thinks that this explains why they seem to be challenging the ruling Patriotic Front using other methods.
I want to urge the Zambian people that the president was in tune in saying that, you see, you can stand up and make false allegations. When you are arrested, you will be alone in the courts of law. And those masses that are pushing you to say what you are saying will not be there. It is for this reason that I want to challenge and also condemn the statement that was made by the son to Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Kaweshe, where he stated that he knows Boss One and he knows that Findre knows Boss One. Now, the fact that somebody knows somebody, just like I know James Kunda from Times of Zambia, doesn't mean that James Kunda knows whatever I do private. So we want to urge the Zambian people that we are living in an era where politicians and certain political elements in the country have run out of ideas. They have no formidable manifesto that can outstand the Patriotic Front. And the only thing that they want to do is to spread falsehood. So for this reason, we want to advise Kaweche to say let him remain practicing. Is he as a doctor, if he's a medical doctor or what, I don't know.
Chief Chisunka of the Oshi people of Masa district has reaffirmed his commitment to preserving forest in his chiefdom. Chief Chisunka says he is working with the forest department to ensure that people do not cut down trees without authorization in the chiefdom. He says he wants to see to it that charcoal production does not result in deforestation.
You know, we are in the northern part of Zambia. What we do, it's a chitemene. Chitemene, I can't refuse them. Why I can't refuse chitemene? Because when you cut, again they tussle. So which means for those who are doing the chitemene, I encourage them because they are not like the way they do in other parts of the country, where they even getting the roots of the trees. But for chitemene, you can cut next year, you'll find that again they have started tasseling. So for these charcoal burners, those are the ones I am working with the forest people, that let them, when they find people who are burning charcoals without any paper, I think let them punish them, or they inform me that this area we have found some people who are doing this charcoal burning.
Msanzala Member of Parliament Peter Daka has urged the people in his constituency to encourage young girls to go to school in order to eliminate child marriages. Mr. Daka believes that young girls should be allowed to go to school before they are taken into marriages. He has advised young girls to also realize that there are so many hardships that come with early marriages.
Lucky Headman Chitindi, my counselor here, let's stop early marriages. Let's make sure that our children finish school. So many people, old people now are going back to school because they realize they wasted time. We wasted our time when there was time to go to school. But you find all these universities are filled with the mature age entry, which is, very which is not nice. When these children now, they can realize that there's hardship outside there, let them concentrate on school. Other than later on they go to night school, they are not even able to do the chores in their houses. So early marriages must be discouraged.
And finally, in our news, Chifubo Member of Parliament Frank Ngambi has disclosed that his constituency has in the last 3 years received a total of $23 million for water development projects. Mr. Ngambi says that this is all thanks to President Edgar Lungu, whom he says has come to the aid of his constituency during his tenure of office. He has told QTV News that President Edgar Lungu has demonstrated to the people of Chifubo constituency how a leader ought to be.
Secondly, yes. I'm happy to announce that the first ever modern market at Chifubo Central Market is now complete, and it's earmarked for handing over to the marketeers on the 30th September this month. And I think that this is also a milestone in that it's going to reduce the risk of cholera or any other waterborne disease, because people will now be trading in conducive environment. You might be aware that in the past there were reports of cholera arising from the environment under which our marketeers were trading. I'm therefore very happy that from the CDF this has come to pass, that the dream of our marketeers has now been actualized. So I think it's very, very important that we commend, first of all, the cooperation we received from the marketeers themselves. As you are aware, for such development to take place, we had to move them to the ground, which was not conducive. But I'm happy that going forward, we are now going to trade in a very conducive environment.
That's it from our news desk. It's bye-bye for now.